Hey everybody, Stephen Bogran here from Pro Physique. Today what I want to talk about is making your fitness goals work. So hey everyone, hope you're all having a wonderful freaking day so far. Oh man, it's been a while. It has been a while. Life has been crazy. 2020 shows are going on again. Everything's happening. Obviously stepping into some new roles as the director of coaching over at Pro Physique. Man, has it been an exciting and busy 2020, at least as of late. I know a lot of things are happening that's bad, but man, I do like to try and focus on the things that are good. So let's talk today about how we make the fitness goals work. How do we make all this stuff that we want to do work? And how do we make it work on top of life and family and significant others and dating and school and this and that. Boom, there's so much other stuff. And let's be real, man, I think a lot of that other stuff is probably more important. A lot of the things that we are focusing on in life, our family, our friends, our personal relationships, those are all much more important than maybe a single workout or a single show or this or that. And there are going to be times when all those things change and things waver and one maybe takes precedence over another for a bit. But generally speaking, I think most of us would agree my family is much more important to me than working out. I love working out. It's not that it isn't important to me, but man, I love my family. They're more important to me than that. I love my friends. They are more important to me than that. The good news is we get to share those things, right? So how do we make it work when sometimes it can feel like there aren't enough hours in a day? Because believe you me, there's one thing I understand lately. It is that sometimes it just feels like there aren't enough hours in the day. So I think first and foremost, the biggest thing we have to be realistic about it with is our goals. And what do we have? What are we going to be able to give to this whole fitness journey? That's where it all starts. If we can't be honest with ourselves about that, we are already setting ourselves up for failure because we are probably not going to achieve what we think we're going to achieve. We're probably not going to make the progress we want to make. And then we get really just like disheartened and we're not motivated anymore and we don't feel good about the process. So I think first and foremost, understanding what can we give to this. And then two, also understanding how long this stuff takes. Really important things. Because this is not, by any means, a quick overnight success thing. We didn't get fit overnight. None of us did. We've been doing this for years. And if we're out of shape, if we're overweight, it took us time to get there as well. Understanding this is a journey and it is about consistency and repetition over time. With that, I think, comes the understanding of what it's going to take and how we're going to make process, how much time we're going to be able to give to this. And so I think it all comes with setting maintainable small goals. A little bit better, a little bit better. When we look at the end goal, where we want to be, especially when we have a very lofty end goal, it's very, very difficult to see and give ourselves credit for small progress, especially if there's a long way to go. So one of the best things that we can do is understand our starting point, being objective with ourselves, saying this is where we're at, this is where we're starting from. I just need to get better. I need to get a little bit better. I need to get a little bit better. And so maybe a little bit better means we lost a pound a week. We lost a pound a week. The reason we want small, maintainable goals is because once we master that, we can then move on to the next. And so it's almost like beating levels in Super Mario. You can't go to level 2 until you've conquered level 1. And you can't go to level 3 until you've conquered level 2. We want to conquer level 1 first. Those basics, the foundational things of how do we continue to do this in the long term. Maybe that basic thing is just knowing where our calories are at. Maybe it's as simple as just paying attention to what we eat and what we drink and having an idea of what our caloric intake looks like. Maybe we already have that down. Maybe we already know about macros. Maybe our baseline, maybe our level 1, right, is simply to be consistent, to set a consistent baseline to see how weight is responding. So it can be different for every single person. Maybe some people, our baseline, right? We've already competed, we've done that. Maybe our baseline is, hey, look, we need to be competitive on the national stage. We need to be able to bring in high levels of conditioning. Maybe we need to increase specific muscularity in the body to increase our overall balance and shape. It's going to be different for everyone. Not everybody comes in on level 2,376 or however many levels there are to life. Oh man. So we want to be open and honest with ourselves and consistent. And if we're just getting started, that's okay. We can be just getting started. Nobody expects you to be an expert from day one. You shouldn't expect that of yourself. So being realistic, setting small, manageable, maintainable goals. Because again, when we look at life, all the other things that are important to us, and probably even more important to us, right? This has to add to that. It has to add value to life. It shouldn't be taking it away. So when we do small, little, maintainable things, sooner or later we see that our lifestyle changes. The things we do change. The things we enjoy might even change. And so now, this stuff isn't as much of a chore. It becomes easier and easier because now we've mastered one thing, so it takes much less effort. So now that reserve of effort that we have for life stuff, we have some. We can go to the next thing. When we try to tackle everything at once, quite often we become stretched a little bit too thin. There is no effort left, right? And so making those small, maintainable, manageable goals, very important. But it's also very important that we set realistic goals for ourselves. If we have 60, 70, 80 pounds to lose and we think that we're going to lose it in a month, that may not be a realistic goal. In fact, I will probably tell you that is not a realistic goal. If you were to somehow manage that, it would have to be in a very, very aggressive and unhealthy manner. And I don't see it being quite manageable. So we can set aggressive goals. Yes, we can. Absolutely. But we have to have a plan for what comes after that. So making sure that we're planning those goals realistically and understanding what they mean. Being honest with ourselves about what comes next, where we're going to be at the end of that process, and what that looks like. This is important because quite often we only look at the short-term goals, which it's great. Having short-term goals is wonderful and it's important. Yes, short-term and long-term. But quite often, we can lose sight of the long term. What comes next? Where do we end on this short-term goal? Where is this going to leave us? And then what does that mean for us? Because if we leave ourselves in a place that is worse than where we started and we have no recourse of action to fix that or to address that, well, that can be tough. It's essentially like we don't want to burn those bridges with our personal relationships. We don't want to do it with ourselves either. We want to make sure that we set ourselves up in a good place to know what comes next, how do we deal with that, how do we make that manageable, how do we alleviate as much stress from the process as possible to make it manageable and not long term, so that we can continue to be healthy, we can continue to have high quality of life. So I know today was really all about goals. It's all about goals, being honest with yourselves. Sometimes it makes more sense to bite the bullet and accept maybe what might be some difficult truths so that you can make sure you're doing the right things for yourself. So remember, when you're doing the fitness things, set your goals, make sure you're paying attention to the long term, make sure you're paying attention to the short term, and make sure you don't forget about the things that are truly most important.